Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. Well, we're heading into winter. It soon will be, all our water will be ice covered, and hopefully it will be safe. But there's certain aspects of the ice and of winter of this type that can be dangerous, not only to us, but the fish that live there. And you've heard before we talk about winterkill. Well, what is winterkill? You know, I've had a lot of my favorite bodies of water that suddenly become void of fish. And what's happened is that certain conditions that take place during the winter kills off the fish. And in most cases, it's due to an elimination of oxygen in the water. And here's what happens. If the body of water, and it's usually a pond or a small lake that's most effective, but if a body of water isn't too deep, and we have a lot of snow in the winter. Snow, I think, is even more important than the ice. The ice will always form, but as more and more snow builds up on top of that ice, it blocks the rays of sun from going down, which is an instigator of photosynthesis, which causes oxygen, which is what the fish need to live. And if this happens and there's no oxygen left, then the fish will all die in that lake. And I can think of one case in particular, Mud Lake, a little lake down by Redwood, New York. And it's just a fabulous fishing place. There's really not much access on it. And the whole lake is full of weeds. And I used to go there, and I could always count on going and catching these big, fat, largemouth bass that they had to average 3 pounds and above in many cases. Well, then one year there was nothing. And people said they found a lot of dead bass bodies along the shoreline in the spring. And apparently that lake had become winter-killed. I'll tell you another thing that happens. A lot of streams, a lot of trout streams, can't support trout all year long. They die off. And one of the reasons they die off is in the summertime, the heat gets so extreme that they stop eating. But they can also die off because of winter kill in sort of a different way. If there's big boulders in a stream, big boulders that come up out of the water and they reach all the way down to the bottom, and of course, as they become frozen, then a lot of times that frozen part will extend to another big boulder, and before you know it, you have ice coverage underneath as well as on top. And that can kill a lot of fish, a lot of trout. The other thing that can kill trout, and especially in our region, we've always heard about acid rain, and it's all the pollutants that are dropped that come from the Midwest, from the cities in the Midwest, and they travel along that route of air currents that comes from there to us. And then all these impurities are dropped in the form of snow and rain in the foothills of the Adirondacks. Well, if we have a big snow coverage, and then in the spring, all of a sudden you have a quick thaw, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. But if you have a quick thaw, a lot of times all that snow melt will go into the water at one time, and you've got all these impurities from the acid rain in that snow, and that can kill the fish as well. So wintertime can be a great time. It can be a time when we can have wonderful time ice fishing, but it can become a time of danger both for us if we're not really careful about ice conditions, and a dangerous time for those organisms that live under the water because it's so easy to become winter killed. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.